Danny Williams sits in the leather chair of the Blackwood family study, surrounded by mahogany bookshelves and oil paintings worth more than his annual income. The prenuptial agreement spreads across the antique desk like a declaration of war. Richard Blackwood adjusts his gold cufflinks and slides an expensive Mont Blanc pen across the polished surface with obvious condescension. "I'm sure you understand, Daniel, that someone in your position needs to sign certain documents before marrying our daughter. We can't have fortune hunters taking advantage of family generosity." Patricia Blackwood doesn't look up from her manicured nails as she adds, "It's nothing personal, dear, just business. You do understand business, don't you?" The prenup sits between them like a weapon. Danny's hands are clean but permanently stained with motor oil under the nails. His borrowed suit doesn't quite fit, pulling tight across his shoulders. Every detail in this mansion screams that he doesn't belong in their world. The crystal chandelier overhead, the Persian rugs beneath his scuffed work boots, the family portraits of generations of Blackwood wealth staring down at him with painted disapproval. Everyone in that room thought they were watching a poor mechanic get humiliated into signing away his future. But what happened next would cost the Blackwood family everything they thought they knew about power. If you think you know where this story is going, you're wrong. The next 20 minutes will show you how one signature can destroy an entire family's world. But first, hit that subscribe button because stories like this, where the underdog has the last laugh, are exactly what we cover on this channel. And trust me, you've never seen a revenge story quite like this one. Danny reads the prenuptial agreement carefully, his calloused finger tracing each line. The document is thorough and brutal. It strips him of any claim to Sarah's assets, her future inheritance, even custody rights to any children they might have together. Richard watches with satisfaction, assuming Danny's careful reading indicates intimidation. "Take your time," Richard says with false generosity. "I know legal language can be challenging for someone without proper education." But Danny's response defies every expectation. Instead of anger, hurt, or intimidation, his voice carries an unnaturally calm confidence. "I'll sign it." He looks directly at Richard, meeting the older man's gaze without flinching. "In fact, I insist on it." Sarah shifts uncomfortably in her chair by the window. She's been quiet throughout this humiliation, letting her parents handle what they call the unpleasant necessities. Patricia raises an eyebrow, surprised by Danny's easy compliance. "How practical of you," she murmurs. Danny signs with steady hands, his signature bold and confident. As he sets down the pen, he says quietly, "Sometimes, the best protection works both ways." The Blackwoods exchange glances, unsure what to make of his comment, but satisfied with the outcome. They have what they wanted, legal protection from what they see as an obvious fortune hunter. After the signing, Danny drives home to his small two-bedroom house across town. The contrast couldn't be starker. From the Blackwood mansion with its circular driveway and manicured gardens to his modest neighborhood, where chain-link fences separate tiny yards and cars sit on blocks and driveways. 8-year-old Tyler is waiting at the kitchen table, homework spread across the scratched surface. The kitchen is clean but worn, appliances from the 1992, linoleum flooring with edges that curl up, a refrigerator covered in Tyler's school papers, and photos of his late mother, Lisa. "How was dinner with Sarah's parents, Dad?" Tyler asks. Not looking up from his math problems, Danny sits down in the chair across from him, the same chair where he'd helped Lisa with her crossword puzzles during her final months. The stack of medical bills still sits on the counter, held down by a coffee mug, a constant reminder of the debt that followed her death. "It was educational," Danny says, helping Tyler with a division problem. "Sometimes people show you exactly who they are, Tyler. The smart thing is to believe them the first time." He glances toward the small hallway where a locked filing cabinet sits in his makeshift home office. "But sometimes, it's even smarter to let them think they know who you are." Tyler looks up from his homework. "I don't understand, Dad." "You will, son. In about 80 months you will." Danny's daily routine has been the same for 3 years, since Lisa's death. Every morning at 5 a.m., he makes Tyler's breakfast and lunch, checks homework, and walks him to the school bus stop. Then he drives to Williams Auto Repair, the one-bay garage he owns and operates alone. His customers trust him completely, Single mothers who need honest work at fair prices. Elderly neighbors who've known him since he was Tyler's age. Working families who can't afford dealership rates. Betty Morrison, his 70-year-old neighbor, brings her ancient Buick by every few weeks. "That girl's trouble, Danny," she says, watching Sarah's BMW pull up to the garage. "Look at her car. Look at your hands. Oil and diamonds don't mix." Frank Patterson, a regular customer, shakes his head as he watches Sarah step carefully around the oil stains in her designer heels. "You sure you know what you're getting into with that one?" Her type don't usually stick around when things get tough. But Danny just smiles and continues his work. He's methodical, precise, honest. When Mrs. Henderson, Tyler's teacher, gently mentions that Tyler's field trip payment is overdue and offers to work something out, Danny counts out crumpled bills from his wallet, every dollar accounted for. That evening, after Tyler goes to bed, Danny makes a phone call from his small office. He speaks in hushed tones, checking his watch. "It's Danny Williams. Yes, I signed it today. 18 months from now, we'll see who's really protecting whom." He hangs up and opens the locked filing cabinet, adding the signed prenup to a collection of other official documents, bank letterheads, legal papers, sealed envelopes. His expression is calm, calculated, patient. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting people reveal who they truly are. The courthouse wedding takes place on a gray Tuesday morning. Only 5 people attend: Danny, Sarah, Tyler, and Sarah's parents. Richard checks his phone twice during the brief ceremony, while Patricia examines her manicure. The judge's words about love and commitment echo hollowly in the sterile room. Tyler stands beside his father in his only good shirt, confused by the lack of celebration. He'd asked Danny why they weren't having a real wedding like in movies. And Danny had simply said, "Sometimes simple is better, son." After the ceremony, Sarah moves into Danny's house. She arrives with 3 suitcases and a look of barely concealed horror. The culture clash begins immediately. "This is it?" she asks, standing in the small living room. "Where's the rest of it?" Danny sets her suitcases down. "This is home, Sarah. Tyler's room is down the hall. Ours is at the end." Sarah walks through the house like she's touring a crime scene. She touches nothing, as if poverty might be contagious. In the kitchen, she opens the refrigerator and closes it quickly. "We'll need to make some changes." The changes begin the next day. Sarah removes Lisa's photos from the living room, replacing them with expensive decorative items her mother brings over. Tyler finds his mother's picture relocated to his bedroom dresser without explanation. "Why did Sarah move Mom's picture?" he asks Danny that evening. "She's trying to make the house feel like home to her too," Danny explains carefully. Change is hard for everyone. But Tyler isn't convinced, and neither is Danny. Sarah's mask is slipping faster than expected. At the grocery store, Sarah's embarrassment is palpable. When Danny pulls out coupons at checkout, she steps away from him, pretending to study a magazine rack. The cashier, Mrs. Rodriguez, has known Danny for years. "How's married life treating you, Danny?" she asks with genuine warmth. "Still adjusting," Danny replies, glancing at Sarah, who's now examining her phone with intense concentration. Sarah starts ordering takeout instead of eating Danny's home cooking. "It's too heavy," she claims, though she'd praised his cooking during their courtship. She eats Thai food from expensive containers, while Danny and Tyler share spaghetti and meatballs at the kitchen table. The breaking point comes when Tyler gets sick with flu. Sarah is supposed to pick him up from school, but when the nurse calls Danny at the garage, Tyler is still waiting in the office, feverish and confused. "Where's Sarah?" Tyler asks weakly as Danny drives him home. She had something important to do. Danny lies, though he knows she's at the spa with her mother. That evening, as Danny takes Tyler's temperature and brings him soup, Sarah complains from the living room. "This is disgusting. I can't be around sick children. What if I catch something?" Tyler, despite his fever, hears every word. His eyes fill with tears that have nothing to do with being sick. "Dad, why did you marry her?" he whispers when Danny tucks him into bed. "She doesn't like us." Danny sits on the edge of the bed, choosing his words carefully. "Sometimes people surprise you, Tyler. Sometimes they become better than you thought they could be. And sometimes they show you exactly who they always were." Late that night, Danny finds Sarah scrolling through social media, looking at her friends' luxury vacations and designer purchases. The glow from her phone illuminates her dissatisfied expression. "Do you ever wonder what your life would be like if you'd made different choices?" she asks without looking up. "If you'd aimed higher?" "Every day," Danny replies. "But wondering and regretting are different things. Don't you want more than this?" She gestures around the small house with obvious disgust. "I want Tyler to grow up knowing that a person's worth isn't measured by their bank account." Sarah stares at him, something flickering in her expression before it hardens again. That's easy to say when you've never had anything to lose. The situation deteriorates further when Sarah's parents visit for dinner to discuss what Patricia calls the living situation. Richard makes increasingly pointed comments about Danny's prospects and ability to provide for a family. "Have you considered trade school, Daniel?" Richard asks over the pot roast Danny prepared. "Perhaps something more substantial than auto repair?" Tyler, trying to be helpful, shows his grandparents his school project about family trees. He's drawn Sarah with a smile, included her parents, written, "My New Family," at the top in careful second-grade handwriting. Patricia examines it with the same expression she might use for a dead insect. How quaint. Perhaps Tyler could benefit from art classes. Real ones. Tyler's face falls. Danny's jaw tightens, but he says nothing. After dinner, as Danny washes dishes, he overhears Sarah on the phone with someone. "I don't know if I can do this much longer. Living like this, pretending to be happy. What if I'm making a huge mistake?" 3 weeks later, Sarah makes an announcement that changes everything. She's pregnant. But instead of sharing the news with Danny first, she calls her mother immediately. Danny overhears the conversation from the kitchen while making Tyler's lunch. "I don't know if I can do this. Living like this, raising a baby in this neighborhood. What if the child turns out like him?" That evening, Sarah's parents arrive for an emergency family meeting. They sit in Danny's living room like they're planning a hostile takeover. "Sarah needs proper prenatal care," Patricia announces. "The kind of care she can only get if she's living in the right environment." Richard nods gravely. "We think it would be best if Sarah moved back home until the baby comes, until Daniel gets his life together." Sarah sits quietly, letting her parents speak for her. She doesn't meet Danny's eyes or Tyler's. Tyler, who's been listening from the stairs, comes down with tears in his eyes. "Are you leaving us, Sarah?" Sarah finally speaks. "I need to think about what's best for the baby." "What about what's best for Tyler?" Danny asks quietly. "Tyler isn't my responsibility," Sarah replies, the words hanging in the air like a slap. That night, Sarah packs her bags. "I'm going to stay with my parents for a while." To think, Danny watches her leave without trying to stop her. Tyler cries in his room, and for the first time since this began, Danny's composure cracks slightly. He sits at the kitchen table, looking at the prenup papers, and makes a phone call. "It's Danny Williams." "Yes, I know what date it is. 18 months exactly. It's time." The next morning brings a certified letter. Danny opens it calmly, reads it, then places it in his locked filing cabinet. Tyler comes down for breakfast, eyes red from crying. "Is Sarah coming back, Dad?" "I don't know, son. But whatever happens, we're going to be just fine." Danny locks the filing cabinet, and for just a moment, his expression shows something Tyler has never seen before. Not sadness or anger, but quiet satisfaction, like a man whose patience is about to pay off. Danny's 35th birthday arrives on a Tuesday morning like any other. He makes Tyler's breakfast, checks his homework, and walks him to the bus stop. The only difference is the date circled in red on the kitchen calendar, a date he's been waiting for since he signed that prenup 18 months ago. At Williams Auto Repair, Danny is under the hood of Mrs. Patterson's Honda when a black sedan pulls into his lot. 3 people in expensive suits step out, looking completely out of place among the oil stains and tire stacks. Frank Morrison, who's waiting for his truck, watches nervously. "Mr. Williams?" The lead attorney approaches with a briefcase. "We're from Hartwell, Blackstone and Associates. We need to speak with you regarding your Uncle Robert's estate." Danny wipes his hands on a shop rag, his expression calm. "What about it?" "The trust activates today, sir. On your 35th birthday, as specified in the will." Frank drops his coffee cup. The sound of shattering ceramic echoes across the quiet garage. "The amount, Mr. Williams, is $50 million. Word spreads through the small town like wildfire. By noon, Danny's phone is ringing constantly. By evening, news vans line his street. Betty Morrison stands on her porch, shaking her head in amazement. $50 million, she keeps repeating. That boy's been fixing my car for free, and he's worth $50 million. The story makes the 6 o'clock news. Local mechanic inherits fortune, scrolls across television screens throughout the county. At the Blackwood mansion, Richard nearly chokes on his scotch when the report comes on. Patricia immediately calls Sarah. "Get home, now. We need to discuss your future." Sarah arrives at Danny's house within the hour, her face a mixture of confusion and desperation. She finds Danny in the kitchen, calmly making grilled cheese sandwiches for Tyler as if nothing has changed. Tyler is excited about the reporters outside, but Danny seems completely unfazed. "Why didn't you tell me?" Sarah's voice cracks. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" Danny flips Tyler's sandwich before answering. "Tell you what, Sarah? That I had money? Yes, we could have lived differently. We could have had a real life. We had a real life, you just didn't want it." Sarah's parents arrived 20 minutes later, their entire demeanor transformed. Richard, who had spent months treating Danny like hired help, now pumps his hand enthusiastically. "Danny, my boy, I always knew there was something special about you. Patricia and I were just discussing some investment opportunities that might interest you." Patricia gushes about how she always saw potential in Danny, conveniently forgetting every condescending comment she'd made. Danny sets Tyler's sandwich in front of him and turns to face his in-laws. "Interesting how perspectives change, isn't it?" "Now, Danny," Richard begins, "I know we may have seemed a bit protective of Sarah, but family is family, and we're all family now, are we?" Danny's voice is dangerously quiet. "Because 3 weeks ago, you told Sarah she should leave me. You said Tyler wasn't her responsibility. You called me a dead end, who would never amount to anything." The room falls silent, except for the sound of Tyler chewing his sandwich. Danny continues, "You want to know why I didn't tell you about the money? Because my Uncle Robert taught me something important before he died. He said money reveals character like nothing else can. It shows you who people really are when they think you have something they want." He pulls out a worn letter from his wallet. "Uncle Robert left me this. He died 2 years ago, before I met Sarah. But he'd seen too many good men destroyed by people who love their wallets more than their hearts." Danny reads aloud. "If someone loves you for who you are when you have nothing, they'll love you when you have everything. If they only love you when you have everything, they never loved you at all." Sarah's face crumbles as understanding dawns. "The prenup. The prenup was my idea," Danny confirms. "My way of testing whether you loved me or what you thought I might give you. And you know what? It worked perfectly." He pulls the prenuptial agreement from his filing cabinet. "This document you insisted I sign? Every clause you put in to keep me from your family's modest wealth now keeps you from my fortune. $50 million. Protected by the very contract you demanded." Richard's face turns purple. "Now see here. That's not what we intended, isn't it?" Danny's voice cuts through Richard's bluster. "You wanted to make sure I couldn't touch your money. Congratulations. Now you can't touch mine." Sarah breaks down completely. "Danny, please. I know I was wrong. I know I was terrible to you and Tyler, but I'm pregnant. We're having a baby together." "Are we?" Danny asks quietly. "Because 3 weeks ago you told your mother you didn't know if you could raise a baby in this neighborhood, or if the child might turn out like me. You left us, Sarah. You chose your parents' money over our family." Tyler looks up from his sandwich. "Sarah, are you going to leave again?" Sarah kneels beside Tyler's chair, tears streaming. "No, sweetheart. I want to stay. I want to be a real family." "Then prove it," Danny says. "You have 1 month to show me you can be the woman Tyler needs as a mother and the partner I need as a wife." He outlines his conditions. Cut all financial ties with her parents. Get a real job, not a token position. Live in a modest apartment on her own salary. Spend real time with Tyler. Show that she cares about something other than money and status. If you can do that, really do it. Not just pretend for a month. We'll talk about our future. But the prenup stays. What's mine, stays mine. If you think you know where this story is going, You're wrong. The next 20 minutes will show you how one signature can destroy an entire family's world. But first, hit that subscribe button, because stories like this, where the underdog has the last laugh, are exactly what we cover on this channel. And trust me, you've never seen a revenge story quite like this one. Sarah nods desperately. I'll do it. I'll prove to you that I can be better. Don't prove it to me, Danny says. Prove it to yourself. And to Tyler. As Sarah leaves to begin her month of testing, Tyler looks at his father with new understanding. Dad, are we rich now? Danny sits beside his son. We were always rich, Tyler. We just have money now, too. Outside, the news vans continue their vigil. But inside the small house, a different kind of reckoning has begun. Sarah's transformation begins the next morning in a cramped one-bedroom apartment across town. The place smells like old carpet, and the previous tenant's cooking, nothing like the lavender and vanilla candles of her parents' mansion. She sits on the second-hand couch she bought with her last credit card payment, staring at classified ads for jobs she's never imagined doing. Her mother calls within hours. Sarah, darling, this is ridiculous. Come home. We'll figure out a way to get some of that money. There are lawyers, legal challenges. No, Mom. Sarah's voice is steadier than she expected. I need to do this. Do what? Live in squalor? Work like a common person? You're pregnant, for heaven's sake. Sarah hangs up. It's the first time she's ever hung up on her mother. The job search proves humiliating. Sarah has a college degree in art history but no practical skills. She's never worked a cash register, never waited tables, never done anything that required actual labor. After a week of rejections, she finally gets hired at Helping Hands, a nonprofit that assists single mothers with housing and job training. The pay is $12 an hour. Her supervisor, Maria Santos, is a former client who worked her way up from homelessness to running program. Maria takes one look at Sarah's designer interview outfit and shakes her head. You ever worked with people who got nothing? Maria asks bluntly. No, Sarah admits. Then you better learn fast. These women don't need your pity. They need your respect. Sarah's first week is brutal. She files paperwork, answers phones, and helps organize donated clothes. Her manicured nails chip and break. Her feet ache from standing. She goes home exhausted every night to her empty apartment, eating microwave dinners and wondering what she's gotten herself into. But something unexpected happens in week 2. A young mother named Jessica comes in with her 4-year-old daughter, both of them carrying everything they own in garbage bags. Jessica's husband left when he found out she was pregnant again, and she's been living in her car. Sarah watches Maria work with Jessica, finding her emergency housing, connecting her with job training programs, treating her with dignity despite her circumstances. When Jessica breaks down crying, Maria doesn't offer empty platitudes. She offers practical help and genuine hope. Can I help with anything? Sarah asks hesitantly. Maria looks surprised. You can watch Emma while I make some calls. Keep her busy. Sarah sits with the little girl, who's shy and scared. On impulse, Sarah starts folding napkins into flowers, something her grandmother taught her years ago. Emma's eyes light up, and soon she's giggling as Sarah creates an entire paper garden. You're good with kids, Jessica says when she returns from meeting with Maria. You have any of your own? I'm going to, Sarah says, touching her still flat stomach. I hope I can be half as strong as you are. Jessica laughs, but not unkindly. Honey, strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you build one day at a time. Meanwhile, Sarah's relationship with Tyler remains fragile. She picks him up from school twice a week as part of Danny's conditions, but their conversations are stilted and awkward. Tyler is polite but distant, clearly protecting himself from further disappointment. The breakthrough comes during Tyler's soccer game. Sarah sits in the bleachers, the only parent in work clothes instead of athletic wear. Tyler scores a goal and automatically looks toward the stands. When he sees Sarah cheering loudly, his face breaks into a genuine smile for the first time since she's known him. After the game, Tyler runs to her instead of just walking. Did you see my goal? Did you see it? I saw it. You were amazing. Sarah's enthusiasm is real, not performed. As they walk to Danny's car, Tyler takes her hand. Sarah, are you going to stay this time? The question breaks her heart. I'm trying to, Tyler. I'm trying to be the kind of person who deserves to stay. At home, Danny watches these small interactions without comment. He sees Sarah's exhaustion, her chipped nails, her growing belly. He notices that she stopped checking her phone constantly, stopped complaining about the house, stopped mentioning things she wants to buy. 3 weeks into the month, Sarah faces her biggest test. Her parents show up at her apartment unannounced, horrified by her living conditions. "This is enough," Patricia declares. "You're pregnant and living like a pauper while your husband sits on $50 million. Come home. We'll hire lawyers to break that ridiculous prenup." Richard nods vigorously. "We'll take care of you and the baby. You don't need him anymore." For a moment, Sarah wavers. The apartment is small and lonely. Her job is hard, and the pay barely covers rent. Her parents are offering comfort, security, the life she's always known. Then she thinks about Jessica, who's now in job training and has her own apartment. She thinks about Tyler's smile at the soccer game. She thinks about Maria's respect for people who fight for better lives instead of having them handed over. "No," Sarah says quietly, "I'm not coming home." "Don't be ridiculous," Patricia begins. "I'm not being ridiculous. I'm being honest. For the first time in my life, I'm earning something instead of just taking it. I'm helping people instead of just judging them. I'm becoming someone Tyler might actually want as a mother." Her parents leave in fury, threatening to cut her off completely. Sarah watches them go without regret. On the last day of the month, Sarah makes one final gesture. She takes her small savings, money she's earned herself for the first time in her life, and makes a donation to the Cancer Research Center. The amount isn't large, but she designates it in memory of Lisa Williams, Tyler's mother. When Danny finds out about the donation, he doesn't say anything. But that evening, he finds Sarah reading to Tyler before bed, both of them laughing at the funny voices she makes for different characters. "Sarah," Danny says from the doorway, "we need to talk." Sarah's heart pounds as she follows him to the kitchen, knowing her month is up and her future hangs in the balance. Danny sits across from Sarah at his kitchen table, the same table where he'd helped Tyler with homework every night for 3 years, the same table where he'd counted medical bills and grocery money. Sarah's hands rest on her growing belly, her work clothes wrinkled from a long day at the nonprofit. Her manicured nails are gone, replaced by short, practical ones stained with ink from filing paperwork. "The month is up," Danny says quietly. Sarah nods, unable to meet his eyes. "I know. Tell me what you learned." Sarah takes a shaky breath. "I learned that I was a terrible person. Not just spoiled or selfish, but actually cruel. I treated Tyler like he was disposable. I treated you like you were beneath me. I treated everyone who wasn't wealthy like they didn't matter." She looks up at him finally. "But I also learned that I could be different. When Jessica's daughter Emma hugged me goodbye yesterday, when Tyler scored that goal and looked for me in the stands, when Maria told me I was actually helping people, those moments felt more real than anything I'd ever experienced." Danny studies her face. "What about the money, Sarah? $50 million changes things. Does it?" Sarah's voice is steady. "Because I've been thinking about that every day this month. I could fight the prenup. My parents have lawyers who could probably find a way around it. I could take half of everything and never work another day in my life." She stands up, walking to the window that looks out on the small backyard where Tyler's bike leans against the fence. "But then what? I go back to being the person who left a sick 8-year-old waiting at school because I was getting my nails done? I become the mother who raises our daughter to think people like Jessica and Maria don't matter?" Danny remains silent, letting her continue. "I don't want your money, Danny. I mean, I want our children to have good educations and opportunities. But I don't want to live off your inheritance. I want to build something with you." She turns back to face him. "I wrote up a business plan for expanding the nonprofit, creating job training programs for single mothers. I want to use some of your money as seed funding, but I want to run it, build it, make it successful myself." Danny raises an eyebrow. "Some of my money?" "A loan," Sarah clarifies quickly. "With interest, with a business plan and accountability. I want to earn my place in this family, not just inherit it because I'm pregnant." From the hallway comes the sound of Tyler's footsteps. He appears in the doorway, still in his soccer uniform, grass stains on his knees. "Are you guys getting divorced?" he asks bluntly. Danny looks at Sarah, then at his son. What do you think should happen, Tyler? Tyler considers this seriously. Well, Sarah was really mean before. She made me feel bad about Mom and about being poor. But she's been different lately. She came to my game and she actually cheered. She helped me with my science project and she didn't act like it was stupid. And she made that donation for Mom. He pauses, then adds, I think people can change if they really want to. Mom used to say that. Sarah's eyes fill with tears. Tyler, I'm so sorry for how I treated you. You didn't deserve any of that. Your mom raised an amazing kid, and I was too selfish to see it. Tyler nods solemnly. I forgive you, but you can't be mean anymore, and you have to promise to stay this time. I promise, Sarah whispers. Danny stands up, walking to his filing cabinet. He pulls out the prenup and sets it on the table. This document still stands. What's mine stays mine. What's yours stays yours. Sarah nods. I understand. Good, Danny continues. Because I'm putting most of the inheritance in trust for Tyler and the baby. We'll live on what we earn together. Sarah smiles through her tears. I wouldn't want it any other way. 6 months later, Sarah gives birth to Elena Rose Williams. The delivery room is small and crowded. Danny holding Sarah's hand. Tyler waiting anxiously in the hallway with Betty Morrison, who's become an unofficial grandmother to both children. Sarah's parents don't attend. They haven't spoken since she refused to come home and fight for the money. Patricia sent a card with a check inside, which Sarah returned unopened. The family lives in a modest 3-bedroom house that Danny bought with his mechanic earnings, not the inheritance money. Sarah's nonprofit, Second Chances, has helped over 100 families find stable housing and employment. She works part-time now, balancing motherhood with her growing organization. Tyler calls Sarah Mom, naturally now, without prompting or awkwardness. He teaches baby Elena to clap her hands and makes her laugh with silly faces. When people ask about his family, he says he has 2 moms, one who's in heaven and one who learned how to love. The inheritance sits mostly untouched, growing in carefully managed accounts for the children's futures. Danny still works at his garage, though he's expanded to hire 2 employees. Sarah drives a reliable used Honda, not a BMW. They shop with coupons and cook dinner together every night. On Elena's first birthday, the family gathers in their backyard for a small party. Betty brings her famous potato salad. Frank and his wife come with their grandchildren. Maria from the nonprofit stops by with Jessica and Emma, who's now in kindergarten and calls Sarah Aunt Sarah. As Danny watches Sarah help Tyler blow out Elena's candles, he thinks about Uncle Robert's letter. If someone loves you for who you are when you have nothing, they'll love you when you have everything. Sarah catches him staring and smiles. What are you thinking about? Just grateful, Danny says, pulling her close. For second chances. That evening, after the guests have gone home and the children are asleep, Sarah finds Danny in his workshop behind the garage. He's building a rocking chair for Elena's room, his hands steady and sure as they shape the wood. Any regrets? She asks. Leaning against the doorframe, Danny looks up from his work. About what? The prenup, the test, giving me a chance to prove I could change. Danny sets down his tools and walks to her. The prenup protected what mattered most, our family's integrity. The test showed me who you really could be. And giving you a chance? He kisses her forehead. That gave us everything. Outside, the neighborhood is quiet except for the distant sound of children playing and the gentle hum of evening life. Inside their modest home, Tyler sleeps peacefully in his room, surrounded by photos of both his mothers, while baby Elena dreams in her crib. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's building something so beautiful that their cruelty becomes irrelevant. That's the power of testing someone's true character. Sometimes you discover they're capable of becoming better than either of you imagined. If this story moved you, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Do you believe people can truly change? Or was Danny taking too big a risk? Subscribe for more incredible true stories, where justice isn't just served, it's earned. And share this with someone who needs to believe that second chances can lead to something beautiful.